Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar titled Building Bridges, Exploring the Integration of Foundation and the Edge. So today you have on the line myself, Dylan Kilpatrick from Foundation Software, and then Dave Chapman from the Estimating Edge. The Edge and Foundation Software are sister companies that have and offer a seamless integration between the two softwares. We believe from looking at the attendee list that most of you guys in here are currently using Foundation software. So today we are going to kickstart the broadcast with having Dave over at the Edge run through the Estimating Edge and all of the great features over there. And then towards the end, we'll show you how that will integrate back into the accounting package. So Dave, I'll go ahead and shift that over to you. Dave, I think you might be on mute. Apologize about that, guys.
Okay, thanks, Dylan. I was indeed on mute. So I've shared my screen here. I appreciate the introduction. My name again is Dave Chapman. I'm the sales director over at the Estimating Edge. For those who are not familiar with us, the Estimating Edge is an estimating software for specialty subcontractor trades. Our main trades are roofing, interior, commercial interiors, so that's framing, drywall, acoustical, EIFS, painting, flooring, and fireproofing. What sets the Edge apart from other estimating softwares, whatever you're using, if you're using a takeoff software and then going into a spreadsheet or even some other type of estimating software, that the Edge is all in one package. What that means is that you're doing your takeoff and estimating inside of the same program. So what the Edge does is you load your prints into the program. We store all of those prints in the cloud for you. All of our data is cloud-based. We have specific assemblies that we custom build with each customer. For instance, this is the interior trades where you can set up your framing, your board, any extra insulation, things like that. So it asks specific questions to those subcontractor trades, not a generic estimating platform by any means. Once you've built your assemblies inside of the Edge, you go to your takeoff screen. And this is what sets us apart from the others. As you're doing your takeoff and physically measuring your blueprints, it's actually adding up your materials and your labor at the same time. So very unique. Once you have the takeoff done, you can move into the pricing screen. We'll build a list of your materials. You can sort these materials by specific areas of a building or specific areas of a project. You can save pricing in here. If you need to get updated pricing, we have a little vendor quote feature where you can choose which vendors you want to get your pricing from. And this is all done via the web in the cloud. Say I want to get from these two guys, send that off to them. They'll get an email. They can submit the pricing to you. And you can choose which suppliers' prices you want to accept, and they automatically pull into the program for you. You can save those back to the database, and it'll remember those prices for future jobs. So very simple to update your pricing. You don't have to wait a long time. You don't have to send any faxes or worry about emails. Next up in the Edge is going to be the labor screen. We custom build the labor for every customer. Everybody looks at labor slightly differently, so we don't want to force you to go into some off-the-shelf way of looking at labor. We'll custom build it the way that you want to see it, whether you want it generic or you want to get super granular. We'll look at that and build it for you. Also, you have several ways to look at the labor. If you want to look at production per hour or production per man day or production per crew day, or even if you're looking at just labor cost per unit for lineal foot or square foot, you enter any of these prices in here and everything else back calculates for you. So you can look at it several different ways. Very, very specific to the way that you do things. And we spend probably a good 3-4 days building this specifically for the way you want it to look. You'll notice in these pricing, material pricing screens and labor screens, we have a spot to assign your foundation accounting codes. So you match those up with your items in the estimating software, we'll be able to integrate those into your foundation accounting software. So the final part of the Edge, besides the pricing and the labor, is where we're going to do things like markups. We can have our taxes, any labor burdens, overheads, profits. We'll customize all of that for you as well. Once you have all this information finished and you're done with the bid, we'll go out to our portal, and this is where you're going to have a list of all of your jobs. You're going to have the ability to send this information into a foundation budget export, and that Dylan will show you a little bit later what kind of information that pulls over. Some of the other things to point out in the Edge that really set us aside from our competition is security. When it comes to what you allow your people to see and not see, we have the ability to set up different user roles in here. So maybe you want to give the estimator the capability to add and modify jobs, but not delete any jobs. Even when it comes to saving your standard production rates to your database or setting your prices back to the database, you can lock people out from doing that. So that's become a big thing lately, something a lot of our customers have requested, is having these security features. All right. Coming back to the Edge, one other thing that I mentioned earlier that I want to point out is that you can load all of your blueprints into the Edge Bid Manager or Bid Image Manager. This allows you to preview any of them, make any notes to these prints before you actually start doing your takeoff. All of these are stored in the cloud. A lot of the other takeoff softwares point to where you have those images saved on your computer, and if you move them or accidentally delete them, the takeoff software loses a connection to those images. The Edge actually stores a copy of the images in the cloud for you. So just one extra step of lack of confusion for any better terms. All right, so once we have the bid done, we're ready to send this over to the foundation accounting software. So I'm going to send this back over to Dylan to show you what that looks like.
All right, thank you, Dave. So I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared here. We should be able to see our foundation database. And like I said earlier, looked like most of the people that we had in today's session were foundation clients. And for that reason, I'm not going to beat anybody over the head with more information on an accounting software that you already have. But if someone did trickle in here that doesn't know Foundation, Foundation is our job cost accounting system that can seamlessly link, like Dave was saying, in with the estimating software. And what we can actually do is we can go into our job cost maintenance area, go into our jobs, and when they push that, the estimator, pushes that final bid over to Foundation, we can come here to the validate third-party jobs. We can select that job and we can validate it into the accounting system so that we don't have to recreate a job. We don't have to do a separate CSV export and import. It'll just link directly into the accounting system and it'll pull in your budget in there as well. It'll pull your cost codes, your cost classes, and from there, that's going to give you guys a lot more capabilities in other parts of the system. It's going to limit time card entry. It's going to limit AP entry so that make sure you're only putting things in against items that were budgeted for. It'll link out into our project management software, Project HQ. It'll link out into our timekeeping software, WorkMax, as well. So this is kind of that first step in moving from the estimate to foundation accounting and pushing that information over so that we can do all of our entry and make sure that we're only hitting budgeted items. We're making sure we're not going to do duplicate entry no more, and we're going to make sure that the entry is coming over properly, because usually when we're doing a manual entry, there's a chance that we could make errors as well. And that will hit all of your job cost reports, be able to pull budget versus actual, job cost dashboards, executive dashboard, so on and so forth. So we appreciate everybody jumping in. What I do like to point out is that we will be sending a recording out of today's session because we usually get a couple people asking questions about that. So if you want to forward that off to anybody else, you can 100% do that. So we appreciate you guys joining on. We're going to give a little bit of time here at the end for anybody to put any questions in the Q&A, and then I'm going to pop up our contact information here on the screen. So again, Dave Chapman, the sales director over here at the Edge, and then also myself, Dylan Kilpatrick at Foundation on the client sales end of things. All right, and so we got some questions rolling in. We'll just keep answering these until they've slowed down, and then we'll end the session. So Dave, they had a question. It says, you mentioned specialty trades. Does the Edge work well for general contractors?
Sure. So we have several general contractors using the Edge, mostly on the self-perform side of things. A couple of the largest GCs in the country are using the Edge in what they call their special projects division when they want to get their pricing for drywall, acoustical, framing, all of those good things. So yes, it is. And we do have some generic conditions set up for some general contractors as well. So if you are a GC, you have some interest in the Edge, please definitely reach out for a demo.
I have another question here for, does this work for structural steel contractors?
Absolutely. We have a full structural steel database in the Edge. So whatever you're looking to do, if you're putting the structural steel together, if you're fireproofing, if you're painting the structural steel, we can help you out.
And another question for you, Dave. You're popular. How about concrete contractors? You let them know where we're at with the concrete contractors?
Sure. So for concrete, we are currently developing a trade-specific database for concrete contractors. We're looking to have that completed by the end of the year this year. We do have conditions built inside of the Edge currently for concrete, but we are also developing a more specific concrete module. So look forward to that.
Here's another good one from Sean. Do you currently have any EIFS subs using this yet?
Absolutely. We have several. I don't know where you're located, but I can give you some references right in Ohio by the foundation office that use the Edge specifically for EIFS.
Says he's out of Tucson. I don't know if you can pull any references out of Arizona to put you on the spot, Dave, but you got a usually good mind for this.
I don't have any Arizona contractors off the top of my head. I'm thinking Gale contractors possibly. But yeah, we have all of the Stowe, Dryvit, and Parex and all those products preloaded into our EIFS module.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe this is just because we did get a lot of questions about different types of trades. Do you just want to run down the specific trades that Edge works really well for, just to give everybody a little refresher here before they jump off?
Absolutely. Our core trades, again, are roofing. So that's commercial flat roofing, slope roofing, interior contractors, framing, insulation, drywall, acoustical ceilings, EIFS, painting, flooring, and fireproofing are our core trades. But again, we have generic conditions, so we can build a database for just about anything. But those are our core trades that we have specific modules built for.
Okay. Yeah, so the last question we have here is getting a demo set up to see the EIFS database. Yeah, Sean, we can reach out to you after the session to get a personalized demo set up of the Edge, because not everybody in here is going to love that. We'll probably put some people to sleep with that trade. So we'll reach out directly to you and get you set up for a time to go through the Edge for that trade specifically. And then if anybody else has any questions, that to think about after, take our information down here at the bottom, our email addresses. And if you guys do think of anything after the session, reach out to myself or Dave directly, and we can get you in the right hands or answer any of your questions. But it looks like that's pretty much all the questions for today. So we'll go ahead and end today's session. We appreciate everybody jumping on with us to take a look into our, the estimating Edge and foundation and how those seamlessly integrate.
Thanks, Dylan.
Have a great one.